Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 41 of Orange Juice News and Notes from around the world of insoles. I am your host, Owen, and back with us, my co host and sister, Mallory. What's going on?
Hey, trying to uphold the legacy of our last two guests. They were really great, so hopefully I can pull through today.
No, they were upholding your legacy, Mallory. So they were living up to your standard. But yeah, big thank you to, if you didn't check out episodes 39 and 40, Chris Gregory, Community Outreach at Playmakers. And then also we had Amelia Moore, professional boxer. The list goes on with her, all sorts of things. Very impressive people. And they had some awesome lessons in boxing and fitness and life. So please check it out if you haven't already. We would greatly appreciate it. But today we thought we would bring the episode back to our roots. And really, the topic of the episode is who would need insoles or who would benefit from insoles. And this is one of those things where we just want to help you recognize if you might be someone that could benefit from insoles and you didn't realize it prior. Or maybe there's even someone in your life who could benefit from insoles, and you're like, oh my gosh, I never even thought of that. What a great idea. So what we're going to do is go through kind of like your archetypes, so to speak, of like people that fit into the category of benefiting from insoles, and we'll talk about why for each group and whatnot. And I would be surprised if you didn't find yourself in at least one of these groups, and maybe even more. So a lot of people think about insoles as maybe something for folks with injuries or maybe just like older people and that sort of thing. But I have so many friends, colleagues, folks in the industry that I start talking to and kind of, I guess, do some discovery, ask a few questions, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, yeah, you're right. I should probably try insoles and these shoes for this activity or whatever it may be. So we want to bring that to you in this podcast episode. Mallory, have you yourself had a moment, or even a friend or someone like that, where you were talking or whatever, and you realized or they realized that they needed insoles?
Yeah, definitely. I even teach some fitness classes, and it's at a college, so a lot of my students are like 18, 19, 20, like pretty young. But then they'll tell me they have like plantar fasciitis or like some other issues along like foot pain lines. And I'm like, oh, have you ever considered an insole? And they're like, no, because like, I don't know, to some degree at that age, you just kind of put up with pain and push past it. And you're like, oh, it's just something I have because it only, I mean, it gets worse as you age. And it's probably new for them. So I have had a few people like that I've definitely been like, have you thought about an insole? Because they just didn't ever think about it as an option, and instead decided just to live with the pain. So I definitely think, and that's just one example. Definitely think there's
Absolutely.
a lot of people out there that just don't realize.
100%. And I love that you pointed out or you just pointed out your students, and that's a perfect example. Like, it's kind of one of those things where you don't know what you don't know unless you've been into like a running store or a fitness store, and they've handed you these insoles or put them in your shoes, or maybe a doctor prescribed them to you in the past. Unless one of those things happen, and let's be honest, those things are pretty specific. Unless one of those has happened, you just might not know about insoles and why they could be good for you. Just like, maybe some of Mallory's students or friends of mine, I get chatting with neighbors. They ask me what I'm doing, and sure enough, they're like, "Oh gosh, yeah, I could use that." But we will hop into kind of the different folks that can use insoles. Again, listen for yourself. See if you can hear yourself in these archetypes. That's a fun word for me for some reason. I love saying that. So the first one is, and we have fun names for them too. The first one is the alignment starter, or people with flat feet or high arches. This is someone who is looking for, again, support from the ground up and alignment, because their natural foot shape requires it. So if people have flat feet, a lot of the times they roll in on their foot or overpronate, which we've talked a lot about in the past on this podcast. And that can lead to a variety of misalignment issues, whether it's from your feet, your knees, your hips, your lower back, and whatnot. Or it could be someone who has high arches and they put a lot of pressure on their forefoot and their heel because they don't have that contact with the ground. They have that high arch, which is leaving, again, that gap in those pressure points on the front and back of your foot. So both of those people or foot types could benefit from insoles, and realistically, most people have either flat feet or higher arches. There are the people who have, I guess, like the ideal foot type, I'll say, with like a perfect arch height, very strong feet and muscles that may not necessarily need insoles, but a majority of people will have either flat feet or high arches. That's just the reality of it.
Definitely. I am one of those people, so I
So what do you
feel like
have,
I
Mal? Flat feet or high arches?
flat feet. And then you have the high arches. You stole
Yep,
all
I
my
have high
arches.
arches, so there you go.
It's rough. So the next kind of category of people we are calling workwear warriors, aka just people on their feet all day.
Mhm.
This can be like who you typically think of, like tradespeople, like electricians, construction workers, but it also can be teachers, nurses, retail workers. I personally really like focused on insoles when I was working at cafe and restaurants. Even when I wasn't moving a ton as far as like steps in, just purely standing, really had a toll on me. A lot of us too don't notice it till like that end of day kind of soreness. You finally get home and get off your feet, and you're like, wow, I am in pain. So that arch support and that deep heel cup can really just help keep your body in line and help reduce some of that end of day soreness you may be feeling.
100%. And the reality is, it's really hard to stand on your feet for 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, and your muscles will get tired throughout the day. And that's where plugging in some insoles could just help relieve that pain, more so by taking off pressure from your muscles and really just more properly aligning the pressure across your whole foot. So great for people who work on their feet. If you check out our reviews, you'll notice all sorts of people saying, I do this and they're awesome. I do that and they're awesome. I work on concrete. We love them. So great for those types of people. Um,
Especially great option too if your work requires a certain kind of shoe. I know Marcia, who is on the show a lot, has talked about like how she used to have to wear heels at her corporate job.
yes.
And just because you might have to dress in a certain way for your work and you're still moving and on your feet. So, we have a lot of different options like heels are light is a great example to help. So yeah, just sometimes you have limitations on comfortable footwear in general because of your workplace environment. So it's just a great addition to help keep you healthy.
Well said. The next group are, we're calling them your nonstop movers. You're like, that could be a lot of different people, but it's the parents out there. So whether you're chasing your kid around the house or now they're taking a nap and you're having to do some chores or go walk the dog, whatever it may be, parents are seemingly moving nonstop. Hand up, I can say firsthand with two little ones that it is so true. And you might just be wearing like your house shoes or even going barefoot or throwing on your flip flops just to run outside, but you need to take care of yourself as well. So making sure you have well constructed footwear for around the house and then also adding an insole in really could benefit parents who don't often have time to sit down or relax and take time for themselves.
You would definitely know more about that than me.
You're a cat mom.
Yeah, I'm not chasing her around too much. I get a break. I'm not a nonstop mover in that sense.
You would know more about the next one than me, though, so it works.
Yeah, so the next one is our pavement pounders, or someone like me, aka a city dweller. Um, because of the nature of a city, you're really not taking a car everywhere. We're doing a lot more of like those little walks and commutes. And because we're in a city as well, most of that is on concrete, which is a lot harder on our joints and muscles and can just, yeah, be a lot harder on our body. So orange insoles can help soften some of that impact and again just improving that alignment, keeping our body feeling healthy as we're walking those long miles on the concrete. Even coming up, yeah, we had our first snow day and things were really icy, and like you do have to have a little bit more stabilization too dealing with that ice when you're walking out there. So I definitely feel like insoles too and like good footwear help me feel a lot more safe and secure. So just something to keep in mind too as you're walking outside in the months coming up.
Yeah, when I think of this group, it's like no matter what you're going to do, whether it's like going out for a nice dinner or heading to the gym or going on a winter walk, or maybe going to work in the winter or whatever it may be, there's going to be some sort of walking involved, not just like, hey, 10 feet to my car, like the Midwest. Small town guy, me over here. So you're going to be moving outdoors and you're going to be wearing a variety of footwear. And we have a solution for every different type of footwear, more or less. I'm sure you could probably challenge me on this or that, and you might be able to get me, maybe. But we have a solution for just about every type of footwear, and you're wearing such a variety. And the reality is, those varieties of footwear don't always have the right support for your feet, too. Speaking of which, so if you don't have the right support, you may pop up with some injuries, aches, and pains, which we've alluded to. So we'll call these people the healing crew, those with um, injuries that are just looking to recover. So insoles ultimately give your feet, your knees, your hips, your lower back a break. So they help support you from the ground up. And if you aren't properly supported, you can put excessive strain on those different areas. So this is where if you have plantar fasciitis, shin splints, lower back pain, hip pain, runner's knee is a common one as well. Using insoles to give your feet a break, whether that's during those high intensity activities, like you're running or like you're working all day, or whether you're taking insoles and putting them in your other shoes that you're just wearing to the store or around the house, again, just to give your feet a break and give them more support.
Yeah, and I feel like it ties into kind of what I mentioned earlier. So many people, I feel like especially with things like heel pain and shin splints and things like that, kind of put up with the pain way more than they would other injuries. And this is like a really simple way to just take care of yourself from the beginning. It's very good to keep up with your stretches and do PT and whatever else you need to do to heal if you're seriously injured. But just day to day pain you don't have to put up with, and this is a really simple solution.
Well said. And it's about, I guess, just to back up and go from the sky point view. Um, it's about holistic health, and insoles are just one tool to help you feel better and do more. Ultimately, we recommend the three S's. One is support, which would be insoles or proper footwear. Two is stretching, exactly like Mallory said. So for a lot of these lower extremity injuries, it's because you're tight, whether that's in your hamstrings or your glutes, or very, very frequently your calves. It can be quad tightness as well, that sort of thing. So making sure that you're spending time to stretch and loosen your muscles is going to go a long way. And then the last one is strengthening. So not allowing your muscles to just rely on the support of the insoles, or not just going through your day-to-day motions without working to become stronger. By strengthening your muscles, they may not have the misalignment, or I guess like the discrepancies. I talked about how your muscles get tired throughout the course of the day. Well, if they're stronger, they're not going to get as tired as quickly. So strengthening is also another piece to all of this that it is worth considering. So it's not just insoles for any of these people. And this is just kind of like a mid session sidebar. Not just insoles, but insoles, proper shoes, stretching, and also strengthening. And that's how you're going to get the most results, kind of A to Z.
Yeah, and that really ties in with our next group, which is the proactive ones. It's become a huge like trend, which I don't even want to use trend because I actually think it's a really good thing and I hope it doesn't die out.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a whole like kind of trend around preventative, health and wellness, getting ahead of these things, not waiting for yourself to be injured or in pain to get insoles. So that's just kind of like the other group I see, and like I say it as a group. It's really everyone should be doing this and should be a part of this group, because it's just the people getting ahead of their health. They're not waiting for pain to start. They might be a little bit younger, more like my age in their 20s, 30s. And yeah, just get ahead of it, because as we age, it's only going to get harder. These injuries kind of crop up more, or we start to feel everything a little bit more, or it's not as easy to push through. So yeah, our insoles can just help reduce that strain, keep everything aligned, especially as we're doing all kinds of activities or work or whatever, whatever's keeping you moving. So just stay ahead of it, and insoles are a great way to do that.
Yeah, a lot of it's just about listening to your body and just being conscious of what's going on. So, if you have a certain activity that you like, that you anticipate doing, whatever it may be, and you don't feel the best after, or you feel like excessively sore, or during the activity you feel like you're having to try maybe a little harder than you'd want to, you don't have to just take that and move on. Again, there could be several different things you could do, whether that's stretching more before or after, or trying to do some strengthening and overall like building up your fitness for that activity. But also, it could just be as simple as extra support, like insoles, to help ultimately not allow those aches and pains compound. Because if you ignore them, they're usually going to get worse before they get better, especially if you're not stopping that activity anytime soon. And then it might turn into another problem where maybe it starts in your knee, but now it's in your hips and your lower back, and ultimately the longer you wait, and if you let these things compound, it just gets more difficult to treat and bounce back from. And then transitioning a little bit, or I guess, yeah, even for athletes, a lot of it is about injury prevention. But we have the performance-minded group, or athletes. So insoles are great for them. We just had Amelia on our podcast, and she talked about how she uses them in her boxing shoes, but also in her training shoes and her everyday shoes, for a lot of the reasons that we've already talked about. And especially with athletes, a lot of them are doing pretty intense workouts, repetitive motions, and those small misalignments really can affect power, form, and even your recovery as well. So, again, that's something where, as an athlete, if you are experiencing aches, pains, or whatever it may be, you could look at insoles as a potential solution, whether that's preventing them from popping back up or treating them on the spot. Because, again, with athletes, form is super important, and insoles can help keep your body in alignment and keep your form in check as well.
Yes, definitely listen to Amelia's episode, and we've had a few other athletes on as well if you want to hear a
Mm-hmm.
bit more of their perspective. The next kind of group is the weekend warriors, or the active lifestyle folks. And this kind of goes beyond just like work and specific, like doing something specifically as an exercise. A lot of us are active and we do not realize it, whether it's, mowing our yard, or we're doing chores and running down to the trash can and getting the mail, and or we have some hobbies that are just more active, like rollerblading, or we like to get out in nature and hike with our friends, and it's a good hiking season. There's all kinds of ways activities like sneak up on us and we don't realize, especially when we have like that downtime on the weekends where we're just out getting things done. Even, your Target, I'm on a big Target run or grocery shopping, like you can put in some steps in those stores. So it's just important, stay pain free, doing what you love, doing those activities, and just keeping that in mind that you might be a pretty active person without realizing it.
Well said. It's so important, especially in like the summer months, or if you're in a warm climate where you're just active and moving year round, or even if you're going on like a trip and traveling, consider what you might be doing then as well. Um, Another group that insoles are great for are the rebuilders and or beginners. So people that are starting or rebooting their fitness journey. The reality is, it may be just a little bit difficult as you get up and running. Now, insoles can help, but also just meeting yourself where you're at and slowly building up to things is a great option. And for those people starting your fitness journey, it is possible, and you are going to be able to do it, and it's not too difficult. But insoles can just make it that much easier, and maybe take that ache or pain out of your feet from the first few runs, walks, whatever your activity is. just take it away. And as your body does become more used to the impact of your different activities, maybe you can even take away the insoles. But as you get started, they could be a great option just to make sure you have plenty of support when you're getting into your new activity.
One of our last groups is probably the ones most of us think about, but it's just people who are aging. Um, Lana's making an announcement, my cat. I don't know if you heard that. But yeah, so people who are aging, you know, our bodies are changing. Foot padding thins, stability can decrease. Um, there's just a lot of different changes in our bodies, and more support is not, a problem. It's a really great thing to have as you're aging, as you're feeling those pains and aches. It can also provide more cushioning and help reduce fall risk. It can help reduce that joint pain. So it's just, it's kind of classically who we think about, but there's a reason, and they're really beneficial.
Absolutely. And our original full length insole has our signature deep heel cup, which is just so great. Mallory, when we were talking about the foot padding underneath thinning, it's such a great feature for that because it helps cup the padding in your heel. And what is left of it now will be in a more concentrated area and gives you more shock absorption underneath you. So as you do age, which is crazy to think about, your foot padding does start to thin and you just have less underneath you to soften each step. And that's where the insoles with the support, but also the cushion can be great for that. And then finally, Mallory is a little more fashionable than me, so she might be able to speak on this more. But insoles can be great for people in fashion. So if you are just one of those people that are like, hey, I have a certain type of shoe that I like to wear, and I don't care if it's functional or not, like they need to look cute. Insoles can really help enhance just the overall support of the shoe, but also change the fit as well. We have the orange light insole, which famously fits in high heels, flats. It's actually what Amelia puts in her boxing shoes, for example, those super tight athletic profile shoes. The orange light insoles will fit into just about any shoe and give you just enough arch support to make your footwear feel that much better, and maybe you get a few extra hours out of the night if you're having a night out or whatever it may be.
Yeah, it's unfortunately not a miracle worker and can't completely fix, all those really unsupportive, like dress shoes. But like Marsha likes to say, it can take you to midnight. They'll get you through, yeah, like those couple more hours, and just help you feel like a little bit better, being in some pretty thin shoes most of the day.
100%. I'm lucky where I'm in my dad era, so I'm just going for function and comfort all the way. So, with that said, we hope you guys enjoyed this episode, but also maybe found yourself one way or another in this episode, and just maybe spark some thoughts about, hey, I don't need to live with this pain or these aches, or I don't have to settle. I can make myself feel that much better or do my activity that much better. If you are interested in getting insoles but just don't know which ones are for you, which why would you? That's not your job, that's ours. You can go to our website and we have a super useful tool. It's called the Insole Quiz. And what it will do is just start asking some questions about what types of shoes you're going to be putting them in, the activities you're doing, kind of existing conditions, that sort of thing. And then it's going to make a recommendation for you. So again, you can go to our website, go to the Insole Quiz, and it'll make a recommendation specifically for you. We guarantee all of our insoles. So another point as well, where if you're just like, hey, I don't know, but I kind of want to try them, give them a shot. And then if you are not completely satisfied, you can go ahead and return your insoles or work on getting another pair, whatever it may be. So we hope you enjoyed the episode again, and we will catch you back here next week with another episode, kind of talking more about the holidays and Thanksgiving and all of that good stuff.